110 degrees. Usually, 110 degrees was the temperature of a typical summer day in my little hometown, just hot enough to burn your freaking hands on the seatbelt. Or 110 degrees was just an odd angle that showed up here and there in my homework or some screwy lab results. 110 degrees really didn't hold any significance in my life prior to those warm post-pandemic days. It certainly didn't cause me an ounce of worry as I strolled around the ever-busy floor of REI, lugging around a big, bold blue backpacking bag on my back. What did cause me to cringe was that price tag. It was a little steep. But the fantasies I had cultivated of exploring the unknown and the camping among awe-inspiring mountaintops could not keep me from the cash register that day. COVID had already set me back far enough. We were all finally allowed to leave our homes. Everyone wanted outside, and I was no exception. Now, on the other hand, what I would give to be 110 pounds again as I wheezed through my first 5K run. This was for sure the worst possible way to get fit as fuck and shred those pandemic pounds I had packed on. I wish I could murder whatever stupid thought had possessed me to pay money to run, let alone sign up for 5Ks. Oh, let's get into running. It's easy. Everyone else is doing it. It's not like swimming, hiking, and biking were not already enough. I thought for sure I was going to die halfway through the San Diego Bay Bridge run. But once I saw the finish line from the top of the bridge, my soul soared and I knew I had to finish strong. I think it's safe to say I proudly finished my first 5K. 110 degrees, sure as shit, didn't bother me as I zipped around on the coolest, the brightest, the orangest pedal assist bike around. This bike was my baby. It was my speed machine and an extraordinary new part of my daily life. Every morning, my commute started with a face full of crisp winds that were damp with fog, and my heart pounding with sheer glee as I bombed it down 6th Avenue. There was not a soul in sight to witness my reckless speeds and complete disregard for the designated bike lanes as I sped into downtown. This feeling was freedom. It was power. It was a something I hadn't realized could become so addicting. Everything was going so well. I felt like I was finally at peak fitness. I was constantly on the move. And I would talk endlessly about where I wanted to travel, backpack, and camp. I was ready to see the world, to see everything and everyone. So, I guess it kind of figures that everything would come to a screeching halt. I can still remember when it all changed, clear as day. It was a Friday. And I was thinking about all the awesome plans I had ready for tonight as I rode my stupid cool bike to work. And that's when I suddenly took flight. How strange, I thought, as I hurtled towards the pavement. Those train tracks had never stopped me before. Whoever said tragedy happens in slow motion can eat my ass. Because everything happened pretty freaking fast. It took me a split second to realize my bike was back there, and I was in the air. I know I said some rather colorful words when I felt the impact. Although I didn't hear it, past experience had told me that was a pretty bad crack. Right to the knee. Everything went black, but just for a second. I remember the life-draining scream and seeing my knee stuck at a bit of an odd degree. The ambulance ride was short and sweet. The morphine was doing a fine job. Pain was a constant companion ringing in my ear at this point, barely held at bay by a bag and needle forced into my joints. The world would tilt and spin. The hospital lights were always too bright. I lost count of how many times the doctors had come to see me, or maybe just to stare at my odd little knee. I didn't dare look at the x-rays. Not now. Maybe not ever. For days, the haze was deep, and the nurses just wanted me to sleep. When I finally found a moment of clarity, I saw what appeared to be telephone poles sticking out of my leg. Fixators, they called them. These ugly rods were so very, very cold and drilled deep, deep into my bones. There was no escape. One surgery would become two, and two would become three. And if there's any advice I could ever give to you, do not, for the love of God, watch a scary movie right before a major surgery. You might end up fistfighting a scary drug-induced monster and the recovery room nurses. I never did get to apologize to those nurses. They put up one hell of a fight. I'm sure they learned a new swear word or two. Maybe more, maybe four. A new x-ray of my tibia showed that it had been decorated in some sort of complex corset. My poor knee had enough screws and hardware in it to put Home Depot to shame. I had grown up on a farm. I was no stranger to bruises or bleeding or the occasional close calls. But this single image made something sink in my soul that day. This was different, and I was so very scared. I had a realization that not even the morphine could dull away. The me I used to be had died back there on those tracks. She was gone. She was someone I knew I could no longer be. I knew, then and there. The morning bike rides were over. My first 5K was likely my last 5K. And there was a big, bold blue backpack sitting at home in the corner of my room with the tag still intact. The weeks felt endless and the healing slow. At the prime age of 26, I owned a selection of wheelchairs, crutches, and a pair of my very dead grandma's walking canes. Each time I went in for a checkup, the doctor's scowl only grew deeper. My scars resembled that of a shark bite, deep, jagged, and proof that the stitches had been taken out just a tad too soon. As I waited, not so patiently, for permission to start physical therapy, it was just me and my phone taking the term doom scrolling to a whole new level. Who tortures themselves by watching hiking videos and travel reels while crippled as fuck? I do. I should have been traveling right now, scaling mountains and exploring new countries. But instead, I was stuck. Hours upon hours, I felt as though I was searching for something to soothe my displeasure. Anything to look forward to, but what? And that's when the universe, or some well-timed algorithm, decided to present me a picture of Havasupai Falls. That single image made something stir in my sad little soul. A deep dive into the internet showed image after image of tantalizing red rock canyons, blue-green streams, waterfalls more beautiful than anything I'd ever seen, and a nearly 13-mile hike, one way, into an awfully deep canyon. Well, shit. I decided, so be it. Challenge accepted. Physical therapy soon got renamed to physical torture. After so long, my leg was thin and withered and ramrod straight. On a few occasions, those therapists made me see stars. They made me see the light. I would pass out, I would wake up, and we would try again. Every session felt like a fight for my life. In the end, I just wanted my knee to bend. The goniometer, my new best friend, was a riveting little device that loved to challenge me to no end. I pushed hard for 42 degrees, sweated through 56, got stuck at 75, and broke loose at 90. It was excruciating, but I wanted so much more. Another surgery here, another setback there. Good old WebMD informed me that a person needs a range of motion between 120 and 150 degrees in their knees to walk, squat, bike, and hike. WebMD, however, failed to mention how many degrees I would need for a proper romp in the sheets. I can tell you it's more than 100 degrees. One day it was just me and the doctor, staring each other down in a hollow little room. 110 degrees. It seemed to be where I had plateaued. 110 degrees. Don't expect much more. Don't ever expect to run again. With that, the doctor left the room, and I never saw him again. So many words were left unsaid. I was totally stunned. 110 degrees? What the fuck? That was not nearly enough to even do stairs. 110 was not enough to bike, let alone hike. I was furious. I felt as hollow as that little room. Who or what could I even blame? The doctor simply thought there was no more left to do. At first, my tears knew no end. My soul was completely soaked through. I knew this simply would not do. Oh no, Mr. Doctor. Just you watch. I don't need you. I'll show you what this stupid little knee can do. The sheer thought of 110 degrees would make me red in the face. 110 degrees sometimes made me not want to exist anymore. And some days, 110 degrees made me push till I was so unbelievably sore. I would not, and I could not, settle for 110 degrees. I had a fucking waterfall to find. It took some time and an unexpected recommendation, but soon I found a new Mr. Doctor willing to take me on. This Mr. Doctor was strange but equally patient. I told him of the blue-green waters and the deep canyons and the most beautiful waterfall of them all. I think this Mr. Doctor knew 110 degrees simply would not get me there. New Mr. Doctor would despise that 110 degrees as much as I do. Together, we talked and we planned for the future ahead. I had a chance. I could feel it. I knew it would not be without more effort, pain, and patience, but it had to change. It had to. I traded my canes out for trekking poles, and with tears in my eyes, I tore the tags off of my big, bold blue backpack. Soon I thought, I'd be out there. This knee was going to fucking move. Yet, another surgery here, some aches and pains there. But I knew this time I was in the clear. I will never forget when Mr. Doctor told me, "Congratulations, little lady. That was a fine 120 degrees you just got there." Now, trust me when I say that canyon was deep. It was a crazy long way down. I stood at the top, just the edge, with my big, bold blue backpack stuffed to the brim. I was beyond excited for this long-ass journey to begin. Those red rocks, the walls, they had a warmth you could see before you could feel. The walls, they were strange, twisted, and layered. They slowly turned into old cottonwood forests that barely made a sound. Soon, trickles of water appeared from the rocks and transformed into streams of clear glass that were a color no picture could ever do justice. Definitely not now. Maybe not ever. I knew I was close when I heard the roar begin to echo up from the canyon's mysterious depths. It was an adventure like no other. 2 years in the making and a long time waiting. But nothing could ever prepare me for what I found. The waterfalls I'd been searching for were finally all around. The water was pure, and the mist was heavy on my face. And I felt some sort of long-awaited healing finally take place. I had not settled for that dreadful 110 degrees. and I pushed harder and farther than I ever had before. I had made it. I mourned for the person I had been before, but I knew she would have been so very proud and already eager for the next adventure. But for now, this beautiful waterfall was enough, and the beginning for so much more.
Another VAMP first timer, Nash K. Woo!